means the stage. We are merely players, performers, and portrayers.
Whoopsie poopsie, you caught me listening to Rush. Hee hee. I effing love Rush. Just ask old Hat and Boob. She'll tell you. When Rush comes on, ha, you best look out. Ha! I get all elated over some Rush. What can I say? What can I say? I like classic rock. They rock hard, dude. They rock out pretty hard, dude. We like it. How do you like the new setup? A little bit clearer picture. You can actually see what I'm doing and hearing what I'm saying. We got all kinds of news, guys. We got all kinds of news. And we're going to be delivering it here with you. We are the Hat and Beard Show, and you are a part of Mad Hatter Nation. If you want to partake in the chat, make sure that you're subscribed. Today we'll be talking about some bookending yesterday's topic, right? As you guys know, we talked about some of the coaching firing on Black Monday yesterday. And then if you didn't check it out yesterday, we had an uploaded video talking about Raheem Morris and Zach Taylor and the contrast between the two mentalities of the teams. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already. But today we're going to be looking at NFL coaching news coming to us live from Yahoo Sports. Mike McDaniel's job reportedly safe with the Dolphins. Jonathan Gannon, Pete Carroll, Kevin Stefanski, Raheem Morris, all fired as the Cardinals, Raiders, Browns, and Falcons all decide to make changes. And the Falcons going with a complete overhaul, GM and head coach. I can't blame, I can't blame Arizona, right? This is where we get in the difference between Raheem Morris and Zach Taylor. Raheem Morris, I felt like he deserved at least one more year to try and instill. I think 3 years is about the baseline minimum unless you're having a catastrophic collapse inside the locker room, i.e. Pete Carroll. But Jonathan Gannon just never quite was able to get over the hump. Now he was saddled with the diva that is the Keebler Fudge Elf, and that is Kyler Murray. But, no surprise there. A little surprise with Kevin Stefanski, though I really think that's more of a general manager's position issue than Kevin Stefanski, the former NFL Coach of the Year. Raheem Morris, as you guys know, I don't agree with that. But, yeah, there's some stuff, I guess, good for Mike McDaniel. Though yesterday I did call for Miami to do a complete structural overhaul all the way down to and including redoing their jerseys and going back to their old school style, kind of getting back to their roots. They need to reestablish a culture in Miami, as this year was not it for y'all. Not at the beginning, not at the middle, and definitely not at the end where we seem to get bench. Speaking of coaching opportunities, Brian Flores is the betting favorite to be the next Raiders head coach. As you guys know, in the year of our Lord, 2026, over at a website called Kalshi, however you want to pronounce it. This is not a sponsored read. I don't make any money yet on any of this. Make sure that you're subscribed so that we can start making some profit over here at the Hat and Beard Show. Grandma Studio One would like to have some updates to her. But you can bet on anything now. Literally anything, dude. You can, Call Sheet lets you bet on anything you want to bet on. We could literally, if you guys wanted, we could put a bet out on Call Sheet over under how many times I'm gonna flub the outro of this video and tell you guys to have a good day and don't do anything that I wouldn't do before I finally frig off. You know what I'm saying? Like over under 3.5 because your boy not so good with it sometimes, but you can bet on anything over at Call Sheet. Now I will be honest, it can be utilized. Don't gamble. It's dumb, right? But it can be used as like a good kind of a weather vane or a paid poll, right? Because you know that people that are putting some of the people that are putting money into it are actually, that's where they actually, money talks, bullshit walks, and sometimes people aren't actually accurate in polls, but when they're putting dollary dues down on it, that means that they actually have a vested interest in it then to see a potential outcome or expecting a certain outcome, and that would give you a good barometer. There's the word I was looking for, not weather vane, barometer of kind of the public feeling about it. So there is data to be utilized there. It's still too new in the process to really be able to take the data and put it into practice yet. But it is a good way of kind of just sticking your toe in the water there. But we got Pro Football Talk over here talking about Brian Flores. The hot name, right? He's the hot name. We talked about him in the chat. If you guys aren't here in the beginning, pre-show, come hang out in the chat. It's a good time with some of the OGs, talking smack, just kind of, doing our thing, dude. But Brian Flores, there's a lot of people, and I understand. I completely understand the want, right? To have the Lions poach Brian Flores away from the Minnesota Vikings and make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL. I understand the sentiment. Not only is he a good defensive coordinator, a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator, has produced high-end defenses with Minnesota, right? And it falls right in line with what Brad Holmes has kind of traditionally done, where we, at least the first 3 years there, we're kind of doing this thing where we would poach other teams' scraps, Jamal Williams, David Montgomery. You know what I'm saying? We'd go and take from our division, right? So it almost kind of makes sense. Personally, I'm not in that camp. I am a Kelvin Shepard stan. All right, I'm gonna be honest. I like Kelvin Shepard. I can't help it, dude. There's just something about him. The guy speaks to me, dude. You know what I'm saying? And I'd like to see him have another year or two to really instill, really get his dick beaters all over this defense, have his fingerprints all over it, and maybe have a season where we don't have catastrophic injuries to X factor defenders on the back end. But I understand the sentiment of wanting to pay Brian Flores. Now, to the inverse of that, the betting odds are saying Brian Flores to be the Raiders' next head coach. Whoa, wee-wah. Might want to pump the brakes there, Betty Lou. I don't know if Brian Flores is ever going to be given another opportunity to be a head coach in the NFL. The last go-around didn't end so well for the boy down there, you know what I mean? And he does kind of have this stink on him. I think I agree with Mr. Detroit City, what we were saying in the pre-show. I think he just completely tanked any opportunity he has to have that much trust and leverage and power given to him. I think a coordinator position, high-end coordinator position, and the highest paid coordinator position is a fair and just. It is fair and just that is the route that Brian Flores, I think that is about the ceiling of his career. Now, if a team wants to take a crack at it, go ahead. I don't know if it's going to work out, but maybe he learned from his mistakes, or you're getting yourself Raheem Morris 2.0, right? This retread isn't necessarily working out so well all the time, unless Mike Vrabel, former coach of the year. You'll see it with Kevin Stefanski. He'll get another opportunity and put on a really high end product. I kind of got this weird feeling that Stefanski's going to end up in Big Blue. I just got this feeling that Stefanski's going to be the head coach and get paired up with Jackson Dart, and it's just going to be a really fun offense to watch in Big Blue. But we'll talk here about what Mike Florio, big Mike Florio fan. Guys, Mike Florio, one of the very, very few actual journalists to push back against narratives, to call out bad officiating. And you got to give him credit. Little old Mike Florio is out here doing yeoman's work. Then we're going to go ahead and get into some Detroit Lions content. We got to keep this train moving. We are dragging out with the opening monologue. 5 takeaways from Dan Campbell's end-of-season press conference. What do you know? We got an article here from the Pride of Detroit. Can you guys guess who the writer is? Can you guess who it is? Well, it's our guy, Jeremy Reisman. You know me. He's writing an article. We're reading it on the Hat and Beard Show. Let's giggity go. Then we're going to talk over here at DetroitLions.com. Senior beat writer Tim. Haven't seen you in a few days. 2020, man. LaPorta talks return timeline, 2026 expectations. I'm going to be honest, there's not a lot of data in here. There's not a lot of we're just going to run through it real quick. There is an uplifting end to it. LaPorta leaves us on a high end, but the season finale of the Sam LaPorta, the young and the restless over here, it leaves us on a cliffhanger. You know what I'm saying? There is multiple options, and all we can do now is take to Reddit and expand on our fan theories as we try and ship Sam LaPorta to a Pro Bowl caliber return, or overinflate his numbers, or just continue to beat down the fact that, yes, he was one of the most valuable assets on the offense, and our offense did stagnate post his injury. Sam LaPorta, I said at the beginning of the year, we needed, I had a roadmap for Jared Goff to have 5,000 passing yards. That relied heavily on J-Mo hitting 1,600. Amon-Ra hit about his ceiling, about where I said that he was going to be at, but I also had LaPorta going for 1,000 yards. Those were, between the three of them, we had about 4,000 receiving, or 3,000 of the 5,000 receiving yards right there. But you know what? We lost LaPorta. Still had a really productive season. If you look at his body of work when he was active, you can't dispute the numbers. And our offense produced at a touchdown higher rate per game, right? So Sam LaPorta, a very valuable asset. Need him to get that back ready and locked in. Back injuries, though, They can be a fickle little mistress over there, but we'll talk about Sam LaPorta. And then finally, plug your ears, American boxer. You don't want to hear this. One Lions veteran who has played his last snap, and the team knows it. Could Al-Qadim Muhammad be headed elsewhere in 2026? We will discuss that and more this morning on the Hat and Beard Show. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every single time that we go live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here at youtube.com, as well as you get a double dose of Hat and Beard. That's right. We are producing at least one standalone video on demand, one standalone video. Yesterday, it was new, right? We kind of were figuring it out, but I think we'll get onto a good pace here. So you're going to want to check that out. And if you got hypes to spare, y'all, metrically, YouTube doesn't know what to do with my standalone videos right now. We've spent the last year really funneling us into this live streaming algorithm, right? So now when I release these VODs, YouTube doesn't quite know what to do with it. Metrically, we did have a relatively good high click-through rate at about 3.8%. Yes, the views were at about 2930. That's not very good. We need to get those views up. However, when you look at the metrics, it was 100% subscribers. YouTube didn't know what to do with the content. My thumbnail was trash, but they didn't know what to do with it. So if you guys could just, as it comes out, drop likes, comment with it a little bit, do your thing, share it around. And if you got a hype to spare and you feel like dropping it my way, I could really appreciate the hype up on that, guys. Like this video, share this around with all of your friends. Now that that's all out of the way, let's get into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
All right, guys. I just want to say shout out Mad Hatter Nation. Villain Pride, my guy. I don't know if you changed your handle, dude. I'm not sure who you are, dude, but I do got to shout out, bro. Brown Tuesday. He called today Brown Tuesday. That's funny, dude. I like that shit. Good morning, Mom. How you doing? And Miami has a culture of concussions. Ain't that the legit? Jay, yeah, dude, I appreciate it. Shout out to y'all on watching me on Twitter crash out this morning. Woke up not in the best headspace. Kind of a little bit of a doomer this morning, y'all. But things bounce back. Got a really nice comment. Got a really nice comment on yesterday's video. Can't think of your name right now. You're new to Mad Hatter Nation, but Brent Brayton, I think it's another Brent. Actually, I think we got another Brent kicking around. Dropped a really nice comment, dude, and you'll never know just like how impactful sometimes just saying nice shit can be to somebody, dude. So I just want to say shout out, dude. That was absolutely awesome. Brad won't pay AQM. Unfortunately, he played his way out of Detroit. Brent, that is a really good way of putting it, dude. He played so well that he played himself out of our price point. That is a really, really good way of putting it. Shout out Trippy Gypsy's hanging out. Good morning, brother. How you doing? My burner account, you're welcome. Oh, gotcha. Wasn't you? Fair enough, Mr. Detroit City. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate it. All right, guys. So over here, we got NFL coaching news. That's right. Mike McDaniel is safe, but there have been a few other folks who are getting the old boot. Jonathan Gannon, Pete Carroll, Kevin Stefanski, Raheem Morris, all fired yesterday. On top of that, let's not forget Brian Callahan and Brian Dable. So that's what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 head coaches. Wow, dude, that's quite a turnover in one season. Just really emphasizing the condensed timelines, the understanding that the NFL is a league of parity, right? And you need to win now. And if you're not winning, you ain't doing nothing for me, right? We've seen it with Raheem Morris. Whereas on the flip side of that, we've seen Cincinnati. Oh, Cincinnati. They're just like, yeah, dude. Woo! We just like having a team out there on Sundays. The NFL regular season has drawn to a close. Black Sunday and Monday are upon us, and we'll find out which coaches won't be back in the 2026 season. And now we know for certain, as of Brown Tuesday, the first victims we know were Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenay not having a job, who were both fired on Sunday as the Falcons finished 8-9 for the second year. Former Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan also could be returning to the organization in a new role as president of football. Wow. That's I mean, look, I've never had anything against Matty Ice. That is quite a career shift. Wasn't he in the booth? You know, just being a talking head on TV, and now he's going to be the president of football operation. That's pretty impressive. The Browns parted ways with Stefanski on Monday. The Raiders let go of Pete Carroll after just one season. Not long after that, it was reported that the Cardinals were parting ways with Jonathan Gannon following his third straight losing season. And, you know, I don't follow the Cardinals. Honestly, I could give a root and toot less about the NFC West, right? I'm not big on the left coast. Unless your name is Derek Harp or my buddy Marcus, I'm not too concerned about people out there on the left coast. But did Arizona ever make any moves to acquire talent that could maximize the unique skill set of Kyler Murray? Was there ever an offensive line there that he could see over the top of? I realize that with Kyler Murray, you're looking at, you know, your top end, highest offensive lineman could be is like 6'3", 6'4", because Kyler Murray is like what? I think he's shorter than Bryce Young. I think that if Bryce Young and Kyler Murray were to lay in a bed, foot to head, they could actually lay with their feet touching and their heads on the headboards. You know what I'm saying? That's how short he is, dude. Obviously, Tennessee fired Brian Callahan, and New York fired Brian Dable. They lost their jobs at the beginning of mid-season. Cincinnati answered a similar question on Monday, announcing the return of head coach Zach Taylor and general manager Duke Tobin my ass for another season. And I bet you that the Bengals fans are just absolutely over the moon about that one. I bet you they're like, yes, I can't wait for another ceiling season of 9 wins. Ooh, can't wait to go out there and compete with a pissed off Baltimore team next year. Steelers team who just continues to win year in and year out under Mike Tomlin. I can't wait to just be another mediocre season. We just like having a team on the field on Sundays. Among those who appear to be safe from the latest rounds of firing are Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel, who is expected to be back in 2026 despite the team's search for a new GM, per Ian Rappaport on Monday. Here's a rundown of the carousel and where it stands, plus the latest coaching news updates. We also rank top coaching openings from least to most attractive. And here are the top candidates on the market to fill those vacancies. We're not going to look at the most appealing jobs. That's, we don't care that deep. We're just going to talk about guys. And not for nothing, but, this does coincide with the U.S. seeing an uptick in the unemployment rate. And coaches also not immune to that. Jonathan Gannon went 15-36 in 3 seasons. He was hired as part to toughen up Arizona's defense, and that didn't really happen. This season's unit was 26th in EPA per play allowed, 27th in success rate allowed, and in general hasn't taken a step towards, despite 17 of Gannon's 28 draft picks being on that side of the ball, including 6 of 7 last spring. It's hard to say the Cardinals are demonstrably better than they were when Gannon was hired. Well, that's how you lose your job. That's, if you're brought in as a defensive-minded head coach, and that is what your goal is to do, and they say, look, we have, we're all in. We're all in on these young guys. We're all in on Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. We're all in on Trey McBride. We are all in, right? And those are names that you can work with, right? But then you parlay that with you're a defensive-minded head coach, and you spend 17 of 28 draft picks in 3 years, including 6 of 7 this following year when you could feel the water heating up around you in that pot. You felt the temperature increase. You go, okay, my job, I need to be double-digit wins this year minimum. Okay, if not playoff team, divisional round exit at worst. Right, if I want to keep my job, I have to go all in. I have to draft the players. I am the head coach. I have to draft the players. I am a defensive coordinator. I'm a defensive-minded guy, and we're going to spend 6 of 7. The GM said, go ahead, bud. Do it. Do it. Just do it! And you didn't do it. You shit the bed, Fred, and 26 EPA and 27th allowed in success rate isn't going to get it done. That's just not going to get done. So understandably now, right? And this is just me doing a cursory, just by the numbers, surface level. Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. I can't stand and argue against this, right? Pete Carroll went 3-14 in one season. Pete Carroll with the Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland. He was supposed to bring stability to the franchise, but it was more losing under the 74-year-old former Super Bowl winner. The Raiders beat the Chiefs in their season finale to end a winless streak that dated to Week 6. The offseason trade for Carroll's preferred QB, Geno Smith, never yielded much. The offense and special teams coordinators were both fired in November, and now there's a dispute with Max Crosby over the star pass rusher being placed on IR. None of it reflected well on Carroll, who was in over his head trying to fix a franchise where the rot goes much deeper and higher. The ownership group. Potential replacements are all the same names that you're going to see over and over and over again. But I can't look. It was I don't watch a lot of West Coast teams, but Oakland, Las Vegas, whatever. Y'all just didn't have it, dude. You have weapons, dude. Genty has a lot of skills, man. That guy's going to be a very, very effective running back in the NFL for 6 to 8 years, best case scenario. Brock Bowers is a monster, right? You have no quarterback play. Your offensive line sucks. And outside of Max Crosby, you don't really have any defensive assets. So Pete Carroll was put into a no-win situation, and maybe this was just a temporary stopgap year, a gap year, if you were, in which case I don't know why they got rid of Antonio Pierce, but Pete Carroll never was going to be the solution that they wanted him to be, and this was just, unfortunately for players like a Max Crosby, who you don't have a lot of years to just waste like this anymore. It just gets chalked up to a burned year. Just a wasted year for all players and coaches involved. Obviously, we talked about Raheem Morris being fired. We're not going to talk about that yet. We talked about that yesterday. Brian Daboll was let go after going 21-41-1 through 3 seasons and 10 games with the New York Giants. We know that. And Brian Callahan, after going 4-19 with 1 season and 6 games, was let go from Tennessee. No surprise there. Tennessee just, again, you look at these just bad teams, and you hate to chalk up guys having to just take this burned year, but Tennessee, Oakland, they just never were going to be competitive this year. It just wasn't there. It was much like Dan Campbell's first year in Detroit, right? It just never was going to happen that first year. You know what I'm saying? It was effectively a gap year, a burned year, a wasted year for all the players involved, but it's what has to happen in a foundational rebuild. Now, when you get into a position like Oakland and Tennessee, you are now setting yourself back yet another year. You are retarding the growth of your franchise yet one more year. Everybody gets older. The franchise stays stagnant. Nobody wins. Nobody's happy, and the expectations then are less and less, and the fans turn out less and less. You make less money. You get less good games, and then nobody really cares about you. You become the Cincinnati Bengals. You know what I'm saying? And then there's some hot seat guys. Harbaugh is going to be on the hot seat. Bowles is on the hot seat. McDaniel, obviously. And this is just speculation, obviously. Won't be anything until next year that we find out what is for real or not. But I tell you what. If there's a team that wants to take a swing on a guy who filled in relatively well in a bad situation, if I'm the Tennessee Titans, okay, if you want to take a crack at a young guy, not a Kevin Stefanski, even though he's probably the right guy. Raheem Morris could probably get you there, right? But if I'm the Tennessee Titans, I am calling Mike Kafka from the New York Giants every fucking day until he says yes. I'm telling you, that Mike Kafka guy, that Northwestern quarterback dickhead. That dickhead. That's all right. That's okay. He's going to be your boss someday. I think Mike Kafka might have a legit opportunity to quietly become a very successful head coach in the NFL, and I think a team like Tennessee or Oakland might want to take a long, hard sniff at a Mike Kafka. How do we feel about that, Mad Hatter Nation, now that we talked about that long and winding article? How are we feeling? Dan Bongino resigned from the FBI to replace Roger Goodell in the offseason. Mr. Detroit City, I'm willing to assume that you are trolling, but bro, dude, if Dan Bongino could somehow become the commissioner of the NFL, oh, fucking MAGA, baby. Let's go. What's up, Brandy? Good to see you, sister. I could see Amik Reed, Bryce Young, Kyler Murray, all on McDonald's ad campaign in the ball pit play. Yeah, dude. Over in their McPlayland, dude. A bunch of sawed-off short dudes. Harbaugh's seat is colder than the Penguin's ass. Yeah, dude. Rick, shout out Rick, dude. Good to see you here this morning, brother. I know you a busy guy, dude. I don't get this John Harbaugh hot seat talk, dude. I've never understood that, dude. He is one of the more successful head coaches in the NFL, if not borderline a Hall of Fame head coach. John Harbaugh stats. Sorry, I was trying to figure out why my hands are so cold. It's because my heater's not on. I never turned the fuck around. That totally makes sense. Get out of here. I don't want to see a talking head. Yeah, dude, look at this. What? 1, 2, 3. Dude, since 2008, John Harbaugh has only had 3 seasons under 500, and his worst win total was he went 5-11 in 2015. Fuck out of here, dude. The fuck? Honestly, the biggest thing holding John Harbaugh back, and this is no slight against the player because he's an incredibly talented player, but because of his skill set, he's kneecapping John Harbaugh's ability to coach a team to a Super Bowl. Right here. See where he won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco? This is no slight against Scary Sparkle Spice, dude. But Scary Sparkle Spice, Lamar Jackson, is the biggest kneecap to John Harbaugh's next Super Bowl victory. You ain't going to do it with Scary Sparkle, dude. Scary Sparkle ain't going to win you a Super Bowl. Not in Baltimore. Not anymore. Not anymore. That ship has sailed in Baltimore, dude. It's time for Scary Sparkle to go elsewhere and let John Harbaugh retool. Look, dude, my man's been at it almost 20 years, dude. He's 18 years. He's probably got another 3-4 good years left in him. He's 63. He could probably go another 3-4, maybe 7 if he really wanted to push it, dude. But he's only had 3 under sub 500 seasons in his coaching career, and his worst win total was 5. He went 5-11 in 2015, and then followed it up 8-8, 9-7, 10-6, 14-2, 11-5, 8-9, 10-7, 13-4, 12-5, 8-9. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not bad results. I don't understand the Harbaugh hate, dude. I don't get it. I'm not a Baltimore guy though. Oh, excellent. Shout out American Boxer. It's a balmy 69 in Houston. Well, dude, it's like, I think it's like 40 up here today, dude. Yeah. John is a top 5 head coach. His QB was injured half the season and barely missed the playoffs thanks to the Tesla OPI. Exactly, dude. Yeah, hell yeah. I would take Lamar in Detroit. Oh, come on, Jay. Are you one of those guys? Are you one of those guys that was like, we need to, back in the day, there was a few guys trying to, they really wanted Scary Sparkle here instead of, what's his name, Jared Goff. You know what I'm saying? So real quickly here, as we're talking about head coaches, Brian Flores is the betting favorite to be the next Raiders head coach. As at DraftKings, the favorite to become the next head coach for the Raiders is Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores at plus 175. Technically, he remains the coordinator until a specific date when his contract expires, but frankly, there's no more work to do. The last game of the final year of Flores' 3-year deal has ended. If he doesn't re-sign, he can go wherever he wants. Even if he signs a new deal in Minnesota, he can always leave to become a head coach elsewhere. Over the weekend, he wrote about a rumor making the rounds that the Raiders, under the guidance of minority owner Tom Brady, could engineer a Patriot Way reunion in Las Vegas with Flores as the head coach and Brian Daboll as the offensive coordinator. Okay, now we can kind of see where the narrative of the Flores head coach to Vegas is kind of stemming from, right? You get a little bit of the glory age of the Patriot Way. Tom Brady as minority owner, Daboll as the offensive coordinator, Brian Flores as your head coach, probably calling the majority of the defense. Don't be surprised if Josh McDaniel, is that his name? If Josh McDaniel makes his way onto the coaching staff in some capacity, you might see a fat Trisha kicking around with his pencil stuffed up his ass somewhere. You know, it could very well happen, dude. It's a distinct possibility. And Vegas and everybody else kind of feeling the same thing. Enough people are putting enough money on Flores to make him the favorite, regardless of whether the Raiders hire him. The Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak is next on the list at plus 800. Robert Saleh has a 10-1 odds or plus 1,000. Ditto for I almost said dildo. Ditto for former Packers and Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy, who took 2025 off. If I'm being honest, that might be I hate to say it, but that might be the route you want to go. You know what I'm saying? That might be the route you want to go as Mike McCarthy. Proven track record. You know, Rams defense coordinator Chris Shula, Ravens OC Todd Monken land at plus 1,200, followed by Broncos defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, Packers DC Jeff Hafley, Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter at plus 1,400, and then finally, to round it all out, you cannot ever Billy Blue Chew. Good old Billy Blue Chew is in the mix at plus 1,600. We're extremely confident that one will not happen, which probably means it will. It won't. But yeah, Billy Blue Chew is rounding out the Raiders' rumor mill of head coaching options at plus 1,600. And John Gruden lurks at 40-1. Yeah, if I'm going to be honest, I think Brian Flores has a better chance at becoming a head coach again in the NFL than my guy John Gruden does. Even though Flores also blew up the bridges on his way out the door, John Gruden, even though he's been proven to be correct, even though he was legally proven that they fucked with him, you know what I'm saying? The narrative around John Gruden, he'll never be able to be a head coach in the NFL ever again. I just don't see that ever happening. But I would like to see him as the Lions offensive coordinator. That's a hey, shout out. Dude, shout. I like that. I see the Goff Tourette's bug is still going around. What's up, Art? Good to see you, brother. Mr. Detroit City, I wanted Baker over Goff too, dude. Tomlin likes results. The fans are probably bored of it. Yeah, that makes sense. I see not one of those guys. I'm a Goff fan, but believe our QB, but a QB can run would be fun, and the rest of our offense. Yeah, and that's the thing that because Jared Goff is so immobile, it's like, come on, dude, any mobility would be at least a little exciting. You know what I'm saying? But that's just not his guy. Would I give up Jack Campbell, TA, and Jared Goff to get Lamar Jackson? That's what we would not have if we had made that trade. That's a good point, Rick. And no, I would never give up those. I love Jack Campbell. That's my guy right there, as well as Jared Goff. And I think TA still can turn it around. I wouldn't give up anyone for Lamar. Hell yeah, Jay, I agree with you. I see McCarthy taking over for Tomlin in Pittsburgh after they fire him. He's from Pittsburgh. Seems like he's been waiting for it. Then watch Mike T go to the Raiders. Ew! I don't understand. As with John Harbaugh, is it just a boredom thing with Mike Tomlin? Do the Steelers just want change? Is that what it is? Because I do not understand the Mike Tomlin getting fired. Now maybe resigning, but I don't understand this idea that Pittsburgh is out on Mike Tomlin. What is with that? Steelers fans want Super Bowls, not winning seasons. Gotcha. if Gruden was any part of the Lions organization. Jack 2125, you are very soberingly correct on that, my guy. That is a very good point in why I need to kibosh this whole John Gruden attached to the Lions organization. We already have a big enough uphill Detroit versus everybody fight on our hands every single week. We don't need another just thorn in our ass from the NFL. That's a good point, dude. Lamar's going to retire and start a rap career. Yeah, I mean, that or he could go the Lev Bell route. Lev Bell started an OF. Fucking weirdo. All right, guys, let's go ahead and quickly talk about the Lions and Dan Campbell's takeaways, right? No coaching decisions have been made, yet. Dan Campbell has been hinting at making some changes this offseason. Not necessarily on the coaching staff, but it certainly doesn't take much reading between the lines to deduce that could be on the table. During his Monday presser, Campbell said that it would be the first thing he assesses later this week. Whoopsie. Sorry, my phone's being stupid. All right. First thing I've got to figure out is the staff. I need to make sure that where do we go from here, Campbell said. I need to make sure that I feel good about where the guys are at, the positions they're in, or do we tweak a couple of things, move a couple of guys? Do we stay pat? Yes. You move a couple of guys, namely Johnny No Screens Morton, and you give him the pat on the ass out the door because he needs to go. Last week, Campbell stood up for Calvin Shepard, noting that he feels like the first-time defensive coordinator did, quote, a damn good job, while also noting that he hadn't made any decisions on his or anyone's future yet. Part of the staffing decisions Campbell will have to make is whether he will continue to call plays for the offense moving forward. The Lions coach did not provide much clarity on where he currently is leaning in that decision. Quote, I'm open to anything. I don't know exactly where I'm at with that yet. I mean, I guess one of the good things, if I did do that, you don't have to worry about somebody else leaving. You don't have to worry about your play caller leaving. So that would be one of the perks of it. But listen, I'm going to think through all of that, and I think I really want to do what I feel is best for the team. You don't have to worry about your play caller leaving. Yes. So real quick, you don't have to worry about somebody else leaving. You don't have to worry about your play caller leaving. I hate to say it, but that sounds like Dan Campbell is having a little bit of a damn it, Ben moment. You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit of fucking Ben Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the ground level, one of the most mysterious, intriguing parts of Campbell's press conference was his desire to have the team operating more like they did a few years ago. I want to get back to some of the things we were doing a couple years ago. And what I mean by that is just getting back to a little bit of what we did on the ground level. Just a little bit of the way we train, the way we go about things, Campbell said. This is going to be a good training camp for us. We're going to go back and really sharpen the sword a little bit. And I know that's a ways off, but I think that's the big thing. And see, this is where I like Dan Campbell because, he's saying, right, this is going to be a good training camp for us. I know that it's a bit of a ways off. But Dan Campbell, you and me, brother, we're already thinking. We're already into next year. We've already set the mental table. We're already building a plan. We're already fomenting a battle operations. We're already drawing up schematics, schemes, getting our blueprints hammered out, dude. We're already into training camp mentality. That's what I like. Forward thinking, not dwelling on what was, not grandma wagoning this whole last season, but moving forward. This is what I did wrong. This is what I need to do, and this is how we're going to implement it. We're already moving forward. When pushed about why the Lions have gotten away from that this year, Campbell opted not to get into details about what he was talking to, but it certainly seems like he's implying ramping things up a little bit more next year. In the past, Campbell has talked frequently about avoiding complacency, but unless I'm reading him wrong, it sounds like he may have crept in a little this year. Learning from Frank Ragnow's retirement. This season, it's clear the Lions missed All-Pro center Frank Ragnow after a sudden retirement. Yeah, and water is wet. And while it's still not entirely clear how much clarity the Lions had on Ragnow's situation during free agency and the draft, Campbell admitted they will take some lessons from that situation as it pertains to the uncertain futures of Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, and your friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper, all of whom have at least mentioned the possibility of retirement this year. In the next day or two, Campbell and general manager Brad Holmes intend on speaking with Decker, as they do with all of their players, but they know that it'll take some time before the Lions' left tackle can come to a decision. Quote, whatever goes down there from his perspective, he's going to need some time. I mean, you just do when you've played as long as he has and had the career he's had. You're going to need a little bit, Campbell said. But absolutely, we learned lessons. That means we're going to draft a tackle in the first 2 rounds. Campbell is content with training staff. No. It was another year of injuries? Yes, we know that. That's where I always start, because if you've got a major soft tissue, then it's more than just the player, in my opinion, Campbell said. That wasn't a particularly big problem with the Lions this year. Campbell actually said they've been great in that department. Instead, things like Achilles tear or broken bones, which are freak accidents, were the biggest issue for the team this year. I hear you. But I will raise you one Kirby Joseph. He believes they've been done just about everything they can, from slowing down the pace of practice to speeding it up, and it just hasn't gone their way. And when it comes to their medical staff, Campbell threw his full support behind the crew. Quote, I like our training staff. I think they do a hell of a job. I really do. It's just, this was a tough year in some areas. It's been a tough couple years, my guy. And finally, and this is the headliner, coaching grade, Dan Campbell gives himself a freaking F, man. People thought I was hard on the coaching staff in my Week 18 report card, but no one was harder on himself than Dan Campbell. And this is where Ben Johnson would go, no, I gave myself an A. It's the players that let me down. When asked how he would assess his own performance this past season, he didn't hold back. Quote, not good enough. We didn't get in. I mean, we underachieved. So not good. I'm going to give myself a freaking F, Dan Campbell said. Obviously, that's a little dramatic, but for him, it's clear it was more of a pass-fail grade. Expectations were to compete for a Super Bowl, and they didn't make the playoffs. For him, there's no other grade than an F, and I wouldn't expect anything other than his full accountability from Dan Campbell. Exactly. 100%. That's why we love Dan Campbell. That's why, contrast to Ben Johnson. Well, the offense, I gave them a simple plan to execute. It was one of our dumber plans this year, one of our simpler game plans to execute, and they couldn't do it because they're fucking retarded. I'm a genius, and they suck. So he's going to stick his pencil in his hat, grow out a beard, his belly's going to get big, and next season you're going to see Ben Johnson riding a four-wheeler around at training camp because Ben Johnson is a coward, whereas Dan Campbell, I let everybody down. I need to figure out. I need to make changes. It was me. I give myself an F. The buck stops with me, man. You know what I'm saying, dude? That's why I love Dan Campbell, dude. That's why Dan Campbell. That's honestly why I think the city of Detroit, the spirit of Detroit, has just like embraced Dan Campbell, Jared Goff to that extent, Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell. I don't know if you guys seen. There's a clip of him during locker room cleanout where he's like, nope, I did not play my best ball this year. I'm going to think about that all off season. I need to be better. This is on me. You know what I mean? Everyone just, it's me. I let the team down. I think that, I feel that some people would say that's a toxic mentality to have, but in reality, those are dedicated, just now incredibly pissed off players that are going to spend every waking minute this offseason deliberately taking every possible step to get better. No wasted movements, no time off. Lock in, recalibrate, reload, re-engage, and go out on the attack. You know what I'm saying, bro? You know what I'm saying, dude? You know what I'm saying? Speaking of training staff, dude, accountability, hell yeah. How you guys doing? I like John Gruden, but I worry about a personality clash with MCDC. And American Boxer, that might have been why we didn't really pursue him too much when he was dicking around at training camp a little bit. You know what I mean? Bringing Dable or Stefanski for OC. Bring back Deuce Staley for running backs coach also. I actually really like the idea. I was at Jack. If you guys recall, when Dable was fired from the Giants, it was either a week or two before we played Philadelphia, and I was like, the Lions need to bring Dable in, much like the Packers did with Saleh last year, so that Brian Dable can be a special assistant to the offense or whatever, a consulting role or whatever it is, so that he can start to ingrain himself and entrench himself with the culture of Detroit, because I thought Brian Dable would be a great offensive coordinator next year for the Lions. I do like Stefanski as well. I kind of was not to wish guys lose their job, but I was like kind of hoping Mike McDaniel would lose his job and we could go get Mike McDaniel. There's just some avenues that are still open to, but I do like the Dable and Stefanski route. Though I think to that end, Dable and Stefanski, I think Stefanski replaces Dable in Big Blue. I would support the medical staff all the way out the door. Hell yeah, Brent. Me too, dude. That's why I say I will see all of your broken bones and ruptured Achilles, and then I will raise you a Kirby Joseph knee. You know what I'm saying? Chucky and MCDC having a stare down on the sidelines would be, dude, Jack, or what if like the refs would be terrified to make eye contact with our sideline because Calvin Shepard would be over there just like freaking out, dude. And then you would just have death stares from Gruden and Campbell. Just death stares, dude. Do it. Do it. Give in to your hate. Do it. Do it. Execute Order 66 and bring in John Gruden. Do it. All right, guys, so over here we got Sam LaPorta. I wanted Terrell Williams for DC, but still have faith in Shepard. Hope TW is doing well with his current medical condition. Yeah, dude, Art. What was that with Terrell Williams, dude? All of a sudden, like I know he had some type of a medical situation, but I don't know what it was, dude. You know what I mean? But no, I'm right there with you. I like Terrell Williams, dude. I thought he'd make a good DC as well. I'm a big Shep fan, though. I like Calvin Shepard. He's a guy that I would love to play for. You know what I'm saying, dude? But that's just because I like the way the players. Holy shit! Prostate cancer. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's nothing to fuck around with. Dude. I got a member of my family dealing with some prostate shit, dude. That ain't nothing to play with, dude. Speaking of nothing to play with, back injuries ain't nothing to play with. And LaPorta had one in 2025. LaPorta talks timeline return, 2026 expectations. Tight end Sam LaPorta was on pace to potentially reach some lofty numbers he put up as a record-setting rookie in 2023 before a back injury derailed his 2025 season. LaPorta said the injury ended up being an accumulation of falls and hits he suffered the weeks prior to the Washington game in Week 10, but a disc fully herniated against the Commanders. So now we know. It was a herniated disc. Fuck! That's going to be a huge issue. That's going to be a career-long issue for him now. Fuck! There were initial talks of placing him on IR where he would have missed the next 4 games, but being eligible to return for Week 14 versus the Rams. A couple weeks into rehab, his back wasn't getting any better, and surgery was decided as the best course of action, so that's the route they took. It was really unfortunate, LaPorta said on Monday during locker cleanout. I was trying to look at the best possible outlook, and then I was hoping to get back in that 2 to 3 week range. In the days following the Commanders game, I was just in a lot of pain. I was walking around like an 80-year-old man, and it just wasn't getting any better. I felt like surgery was the best route, and the team felt that way as well. Backs aren't anything to mess with, and I want a long, healthy career. So is the best route. Okay, so maybe we kind of got out ahead of it. I don't know, man. That's just that leaves me with a very uneasy feeling, dude. As someone who has chronic back issues, the thing is, you never know, dude. You literally can just be like walking and you just step slightly off kilter and your entire posterior chain reacts adversely, right? And then something just goes. You know what I'm saying? This sucks, dude. LaPorta starts another phase of his rehab on Tuesday, and he's excited for those many achievements in the process. He said Monday he hopes to be running by OTAs and expects to be ready to go in pads by the start of camp. Good. And then it's just something about his numbers. Positive vibes, many possible out of it, and learn from the process. He's trying to make as many positives as possible. Well, dude, and the good thing is that he's a good Catholic boy, and hopefully he can get a little bit of lean into his faith a little bit. Though, dude, back injuries, oh, man, and a herniated disc, that sucks, dude. That sucks. That absolutely sucks. What's up, Beaver Nugs? What up, dude? How you doing, bro? Good to see you, man. Yeah, dude, it is Art. Shout out Art. It is good to hear from LaPorta. Hey, Art, real quick. I switched my angles up a little bit. Is the image a little bit sharper now? A little bit more clear? Is this a little bit better now? Shep is my DC. If he fails this coming year, then Rex Ryan, come home and coach with your son. Yes. Yeah. You know what? Mr. Detroit City, right there, bro. Shep is my DC. If he fails this year, right? I am in that boat with you. I am in that boat with you. He is my DC. I need one more year. If it is a colossal fuck up, oh, bring on sexy Rexy. Yeah, buddy. I'm not sold on Shep completely, giving him pass because of the injuries to the secondary. See, Rick, and that's a fair take, dude. That's a fair take. I'm not trying to hang it all on Kirby Joseph. But when you have a Hall of Fame player who has 20 takeaways in his early young career, that is going to hinder your offensive production. That is going to hinder your defensive numbers. That's going Kirby Joseph, Mr. Fix-It back there. You know what I'm saying? There were a lot of times where out of nowhere, Kirby Joseph comes screaming across the side of from the other end of the field to make a acrobatic interception because, well, Kirby Joseph played wide receiver in college, so he's a defensive back with really good hands. You know what I'm saying? He's got a little bit of an edge to him, right? He understands a little bit more of the intricacies of the offense because he didn't spend his whole career in the defensive backfield. He was a late transfer to the defensive backfield, right? So he knows a little bit of the intricacies. He can read and react to a slightly different level than most DBs because he knows what the opposition is doing. He's also an incredibly smart and cerebral player who has a unbelievable athletic prowess to him. You know what I'm saying? Kirby Joseph is Mr. Fix-It. That is one of the biggest hindering factors to our defense. And then you pile on top of that, although he wasn't playing at as high of a level as he was his rookie and then his sophomore season. But then you take Brian Branch out of the mix. No Terrion Arnold. You lose DJ Reed for a third of the season. We'll never know what Enos the Penis Rakestraw Breakstraw could have been. It's just a compound of situations. No complimentary pass rush, 3 downs at a time for Aiden Hutchinson. A hindered early on front defensive tackle room. You're leaning on Jack Campbell having an all-pro year. Derek Barnes playing. Derek Barnes. I'll still always see Jameis Winston breaking a tackle, but knowing that wasn't even his guy. It's just I'm still on Brian Barnes and watching the regression of Alex Anzalone. Shep was kind of put into a tight position, and it just didn't get any better for him as the season progressed. You know what I'm saying? So I will give him grace this year, but I do need him to turn it around next year. Otherwise, I'm with Mr. Detroit City, and I am toot toot full steam ahead on bringing old sexy Rexy into the 3-1-3. Brian Dable, let's go get a center edge, left tackle, defensive back, beat some ass. I'm with you, Kerry. I'm with you, brother. OC has to understand how to run the play action. With back like Demo, who can pass block and punch through the tackles, having a back that can pass block, but nobody knows how to use him. 100% American boxer. I love that, dude. And Jared Goff is statistically one of the best play action passers in the NFL. Virgin Mary is cool, but Jesus is the way. Virgin Mary she's a pretty cool lady. She's a pretty cool lady. And, if you look at the faith from a Catholic perspective, I don't understand. Like, I get, God the Father and Jesus is a man, and there is a heavy influence of what's the word I'm looking for? Not patriotic. Male-dominated, the inverse to patriarchal. It's very patriarchal. But if you look at it through a Catholic perspective, y'all, it's all about, like, Mary is like, yo, that's why they call them fucking Mary worshipers, dude. Like, it is very matriarchal. Like Mary is like the top dog, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't fuck around with Mother Mary. You know what I'm saying, dude? So I don't understand when people are like, oh, Christianity's patriarchal. It's like, have you ever listened to it? Oh, that's right. You're one of those people who don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and you just want to run it down because you're scared to be held accountable. Fucking dildos. Hell yeah, Rick C. Yeah. I think Jack and Hutch can adapt to any system. I agree with you, and I think that's why we have them. I think that's why we have them, is they're incredibly cerebral players. The weird thing about these computer cameras is they autofocus on the subject closer to the camera, which is probably the mic, and it can make your face look soft. Gotcha. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. I'm always worried that you guys can't hear me if the mic's not up in my face. I guess you're supposed to be like a fist length away. Can you guys still hear me okay? like my audio levels still read pretty well on the mic levels. So if you can hear me okay, I'll try and keep the microphone down more. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you're right. So that's actually why I like, and I keep feeling like I need to put my mouth down by the microphone. You know what I mean? I actually moved myself closer to the camera to try and get more of the camera to focus on myself. Not anymore, but you're on the right path, brother. It takes time. Hell yeah, dude. Focus on the one and only. That is my only suggestion to anybody. No idols or others who can claim to have been perfect. Exactly, Mr. Detroit City. It's all good? Okay, you can hear me? All right. Well, shit, if you can hear me, I'm going to try and keep it down here. I'm just going to try to not do this. All right, boys. Let's bookend it. One Lions veteran who has played his last snap, and the team knows it. Yeah. I think it was Brent, shout out Brent, who said Al-Qadim Muhammad played his way out of Detroit. We're not going to spend the money that he is going to be due because of the, 10 or 11 sacks that he had this year in Detroit. And cheers to you. Cheers to you making the best of an opportunity, going out there, getting your bag, dude. Unfortunately, Detroit, we got to be a little bit smarter with our dollar dues moving forward, as we're going to start to run into a little bit of a cap hell situation, having all of these players that Brad Holmes in the first round is hitting on regularly, right? Even though Tyleek didn't have as monstrous of a season as, say, an Aiden Hutchinson did his rookie year, Tyleek Williams still a high producing. I think Tyleek Williams produced at a rookie level at the same level that like a Jack Campbell did his rookie year level, or his rookie year. All signs indicate really good with a massive upward trajectory. So again, Brad Holmes just doesn't miss in the first round. The Lions pass rusher received a huge boost with his performance of veteran defensive end Al-Qadim Muhammad. Talk about Aiden Hutchinson. In 2025, Muhammad had a career year with 11.5 sacks, which finished second on the team behind Hutch. The veteran signed a one-year deal to provide the team with depth in the offseason and wound up playing a very crucial role. He's been a nice surprise for the organization. He initially signed with the team following Hutch's injury in 2024. After playing spot snaps last year, he re-signed with the organization and wound up being one of the most productive pass rushers on the team. However, he never nailed down a solid role and wound up playing 41% of the team's overall defensive snaps while appearing in all 17 games. So kind of what we call a third down pass rush specialist, right? That's at least from the body of work we've seen from Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. They have Aiden Hutchinson, your pass rush, do-it-all, explosive superstar defensive end. And what they like to have is what I call the heavy end, the book end, the collapse the pocket into that guy. Your Marcus Davenports, your Levi Onwuzurike's, your Josh Pascals, your Michael Brockers. These tweener defensive end, small defensive end, small defensive tackle, large defensive end types, right? Not so much pass rush guys, but real line setters, can hold the line of scrimmage and make it almost like not quite the fulcrum, but think of the defensive line as like a teeter totter, right? And the defensive tackles are going to be the fulcrum in which Aiden Hutchinson tips the lever, right? But instead of tipping the lever, what you want that fulcrum to just go at a 90 and maintain stability. So you're ideally hoping that second defensive end, what I call your heavy end, maintains that line. So as the teeter-totter bends on the fulcrum of the defensive tackles, it doesn't do this, but rather it's the clock, the hands on the clock going from 9 to midnight, giving a small window and really collapsing the pocket and pressuring a quarterback, theoretically giving them no escape route and having gang tackles for sacks, really a complementary of your defensive line when it all works in theory. I don't know if this is actually the plan. It's just what it looks like based on the bodies on the front defensive line. With this in mind, Muhammad's future is murky with the team as the regular season has come to a close. Heading into what will be his age 31 season, it will be intriguing to see what kind of market is out there for the defender. The fact of the matter is that Muhammad's age and lack of overall proven production could become impactful for teams who wish to take a chance on him. Whether the Lions currently being in a tough spot financially regarding their cap space, a reunion might not be in the cards for 2026. He admitted that this may have been the end of his run in Detroit, as he implied that he will test the market when free agency comes around later in the offseason. I hope this team values me, and I will go where I'm valued at, to be honest, Muhammad told 97.1 The Ticket. I would love to be back here, but you ultimately go where you're valued. And I'll be real. he did have a really good year, and he might have played himself out of a contract in Detroit during the offseason. What I think you could probably look to see with Al-Qadim Muhammad, yes, he is entering his year 31 season. He has, other than 1 year with Detroit, no proven track record of being an effective pass rusher. He's bounced around and been given opportunities, and up until recently, he wasn't able to make the best of it, whether it be scheme, ability, or what have you. Muhammad has had one flash in the pan year. Now, what that can lead to is similar to Dan Skipper. Dan Skipper had, couple of, I think the year that he started at left guard for us for one game, had a monster year, and he ended up walking in free agency, and I think he signed in Arizona or maybe Indianapolis, but I know he signed a 1-year deal elsewhere, and he never made it through to the regular season. He was cut at the end of preseason, right? A salary or a roster casualty that then allows other teams to poach those guys away. And we've seen what happened, where Dan Skipper has now been here for 2 years in a row since that initial departure. What we really could see is maybe we're all in on a defensive end in the draft. Maybe we don't go. It'll be telling the moves that we make in the free agency. Obviously, if we sign an offensive lineman or two, a center or a tackle, you can pretty much guess that we're probably all in on defensive end. And if that's the route that we go, we're probably going to be looking at defensive end in the first round. However, that doesn't mean that right before the start of the regular season, you don't see Al-Qadim Muhammad on a practice squad somewhere or a cap casualty somewhere, and the Lions pick up the phone and say, hey, bucko, you want to come home? We need a little bit of depth piece. That's a total possibility. There is many, many avenues that we can hypothesize and get high on pot noose about Al-Qadim Muhammad's future, the Detroit Lions' future with Al-Qadim Muhammad, or if he'll ever play for the Lions again. That is a long road and a far future out. Before any of those decisions can be made, we'll need to know if we're even planning on re-signing him, period, point blank, before he hits the free agent market. Sounds like him and his agent have a dollar amount in mind that they're kind of anticipating teams to be offering. We don't know. It's a long road, but it's plenty of avenues and conversations for another day, as we have just now gone over the 11 o'clock hour. We'll take one last walk through here at Mad Hatter Nation, and then we're going to bounce up out of here because I got to get going. Read the Old New Testament. Jesus is on every page, and you'll find him trust in me. Amen. Hell yeah. Read the Bible. I read the whole Bible 16 times, cover to cover. Then I learned about the symbolism, Paleo Hebrew, and the temple process. It won't take much to pass your priests in understanding. Nice, dude. Nice. Used to be Catholic, and that's what got me started. Nice, dude. Hell yeah. I'll AQ him. Good luck wherever he goes. Exactly, dude. Bring Lopez back for sure. Yeah, Art, I am all in on bringing Roy Lopez back. I think Roy Lopez needs to be one of the top guys that we re-sign. I'm actually all in. My top 2 guys that we need to re-sign are Roy Lopez and Rock Yassin. Everybody else can pretty much walk. Looks like it's going to be quiet around here I ain't heard nothing in a while. Nice, dude. Hell yeah, Rick. That's what's up. I love the sound of nothing. Nice, dude. He gets after the QB if the Lions let him go. I don't want to hear whining about not having a compliment to Hutchinson. And, American Boxer, I hear you, dude. I hear you. I don't know, man. I don't know if the league's really that high on AQM. I don't know. I mean, obviously his agent probably knows a few things. Oh, yeah, Nick Whiteside. Yeah, dude, Whiteside. I liked Whiteside. I thought Whiteside played really well, dude. Dude, oh, Trump is speaking right now? No shit. What's he talking about? What's Big Don talking about? Involvement in Venezuela. Oh. Yeah, so I'm not going to lie, dude. Have you guys seen the recent pictures of Maduro? He snitched. How good of a golfer he is. Awesome. Yeah, dude. If you see the pictures of Maduro recently where he's like with the guys, he snitched. He gave up some assets. He gave up something, dude. He gave up something. But we're not here to talk geopolitics right now. We're gonna wrap up the show, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to hang out today. Probably just love for Chad Fletcher 5040. Nice, dude. Welcome to Mad Hatter Nation, brother. I don't think I've seen you in here before, dude. Nice. No, you're not wrong though. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Jamal Williams situation where he rolls the dice and gets a lot less money. Art, dude, yeah, it's given Jamal Williams, isn't it? Oh, no shit, American Boxer. I bet it was nice before they went tits up. You know what they say about the socialism. You can vote your way into it. You got to shoot your way out. Oh, Hassaneen's expected to be the QB chaser. That'd be dope, dude. That'd be dope. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for today. Make sure that you got your notification bell turned on so that you're notified when we upload a VOD. Just going to go ahead and tease you a little bit. Let's see what we got as far as NFL news is concerned. Oh, boy. Here we go. Some replacements. Looks like we're going to be talking coaches again. Looks like we're going to be talking coaches again because there's not a lot of NFL news right now, but we'll figure out something for you guys. We'll have something, but make sure you got your eyes peeled for that. Come on by, watch it, slap like, share it around. Feel free to give me a hype on it if you got one, dude. I appreciate it. Guys, that's going to be it for today. Stay out of trouble. Have a good rest of the day. We'll be right back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. As always, I've been Hat and Beard. You've been Attentive Audience. Until next time, bonga bonga. Frig off.